Today, we're going to talk about what they don't tell you about homeschooling a student with special needs and what you need to know. So let's get started. First up, this video is done in collaboration with my friend Wendy from Plan Prep Pray and my friend Kristen from Pearls and Oak. We're all sharing things that people don't tell you, but you should know about different circumstances and situations, whether it's managing a home and homeschooling, whether it's homeschooling an only child, or in my case, homeschooling a child with special needs. One of the things that you weren't warned about, but definitely need to know. First of all, paperwork is going to multiply like rabbits, and you're gonna need a good system for managing and organizing your paperwork. If you have a special needs child, they're probably in different therapies, see different doctors, or potentially have come from the public school system where they had IEPs or additional paperwork, and it can just pile up and grow. If you're not careful, it will take over your entire home and there won't even be room for your homeschool supplies. So what I like to do is create a medical binder that has tabs for each one of my daughter's specialists and for each of her therapists. I keep the latest information in that binder so that if I need to know what therapy exercises she's supposed to be working on, or maybe they gave me a website to go check out, I can easily go access that. And after a little bit of time, I will pitch the older pieces of paperwork or I will scan them into my computer so that I have digital copies of those. But be prepared, it's gonna multiply. We better find a system soon. The second thing they don't tell you is that their progress chart is gonna look more like a roller coaster than like a graph. It's just the truth and the way it is. Very few special needs kids are going to go from a baseline and have straightforward progress. It is oftentimes going to look like working really hard to master a math concept, and they're going to seem like they're getting it, and the very next day, they're not going to remember anything you just taught them. And it can feel really frustrating and discouraging, but it doesn't need to be. Understand that while you might take several steps forward and then several steps back, there is still some forward motioning happening. And even if there is not, even if your child maybe has a special need where there's not a lot of progress in the amount of material they're retaining or understanding, there is character being built. There is opportunities to teach to the heart of our child. And so we have to continue to persevere in this thing that God has called us to be faithful in this and to look for those small wins. So when your child reads something and maybe the reading is still really botched and it's really slow and painful, we can still celebrate the fact that they made it one page further today than they made it yesterday. Or maybe we're going to celebrate the fact that they did really a lot better with their inflection. Or maybe they did better when it came to their attitude of reading, of like, hey, it's time for reading. It's like, hey, I'm really proud of you for not it's time for reading, I don't want to do that kind of thing. So we can look for those small wins because we have to celebrate them because we don't always get the big wins. I will say, if you look back over your time, a lot of times you will see more progress than you realize. It's just, it comes very, very, very slow. And so sometimes we have to look back to get the motivation to keep moving forward. The third thing is to remember that the best curriculum is the curriculum that actually gets done. I spent a lot of time at the beginning, and a lot of people will tell you to find the perfect curriculum for your child. But depending on your child's specific needs, there may not be a good curriculum for them. You may have to modify anything that you take in to meet your child's specific needs, and that's okay. It's important for you to find a curriculum that works for your particular season of life, and understanding that if you have a child with special needs that's requiring more attention, more effort, or more energy, then you might need to find a curriculum that is maybe a little more hands-off or outsource a specific curriculum. You might have a curriculum that's more hands-on and requires more of you as a teacher, but understand that maybe things need to be adapted or tweaked. I want to encourage you to really focus on finding something and then working that program, doing that work, and not getting distracted by all the other things that are out there. It is something that consistency is important for every child, but for a child with special needs, it's incredibly, incredibly important because of that kind of roller coaster growth that we talked about earlier. The more we're consistent we can be in the program, the more likelihood that we are gonna see over a long period of time more growth. The other thing they don't tell you is that your therapists are gonna give you lots of homework and you're gonna forget to do it sometimes or feel overwhelmed by everything that they're asking you to do, especially if your child is in multiple therapies like speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, or more. this can be really overwhelming. So I would encourage you to think about your child's therapy, their time in therapy, and their exercises outside of therapy as part of their homeschool workload. That might mean you forego things like doing music instruction or art. Maybe in the younger years, even skip things like history or science because they have so many therapy exercises they need to work on. This is important life work that they need and will reap more benefits sometimes than some of the educational things or academic things that we can tend to focus on. If your child struggles with the process of eating, like my daughter has in the past, or struggles with the process of reading, that is time well spent practicing, strengthening, and working on those skills to help them prepare for a better future. So understand that A, it's okay when you forget sometimes to work on it, but B, building it into your homeschool routine and maybe even replacing some extra subjects that are not as necessary with these therapy exercises will be incredibly helpful. I also would encourage you to talk to your child's therapist or therapists, plural, and let them know what kind of your workload is. See if there's any ways they can give you exercises or things that you can do at home for homework that can kind of incorporating things you're already doing around your home or in your homeschool. I have a video more about that and what that can kind of look like over at Made to Homeschool in my community. If you guys want to check that out, I will leave a link down in the description below. Another thing they don't tell you about homeschooling your child with special needs is that their special power is oftentimes their special interest. A lot of our kids with special needs kind of tend to hyper-focus on one particular topic. They might be the world's leading expert on trains, or it might be something like learning about animals. Or if it's like my son, it was learning everything there was about Star Wars. It can kind of be frustrating and overwhelming, especially if your child is hyper-fixating on something that doesn't seem that educational like Star Wars, but it actually is their superpower and is something you can utilize in your homeschool. You can turn anything and everything into the thing they're interested in. And what I mean by that is that you can take a simple word problem, like Johnny has 2 apples and Susie has 3 apples. How many apples do they have all together? And substitute the word apples for anything. So if they're really into Star Wars, you can say so-and-so has 3 drones and the other person has 2 drones. How many drones are there all together? You can usually get different workbooks or even homeschool resources that are based on different themes, characters, or interests. If your child is really into birds, maybe you let them have a set of binoculars at the table while you're working, and they can take breaks to birdwatch when they need a break from their math for a little bit. You can utilize these things they're interested in to infuse that learning into your school day. And it's actually something that once you stop fighting it and you start embracing it can be really helpful. I know for my son, he loves video games. And so having him build some of the things that we have read about in history on his Minecraft world was actually really cool. We did Apologia's Anatomy and Physiology, and they had to build a model of the body, the human body, and the different organs and systems. And he actually did this in Minecraft, and it was pretty amazing. We had him give a formal presentation after he was done building it, walking us through all of the parts and how he had set it up. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. Be sure to tap into those interests and take advantage of the opportunity to make things more fun and engaging to them. Another thing they won't tell you is that you're gonna cry. And burnout is a real thing. It is hard work, homeschooling, period. But homeschooling children with special needs that require a lot more and can require a lot of care outside of even the homeschool day can really wear on you as a mom. Be encouraged that you are not alone. Be encouraged that God did not make a mistake when he put you in this family for this reason and when he gave you this specific child. It is a lot of work, and sometimes you're going to need to step away and take a break. I encourage you to find a strong community and support system that offers you that reprieve, even if it is just for 20 minutes once a week. Whatever it might be, getting to run to the store by yourself, getting to wake up a little bit earlier and listen to an audiobook, maybe doing a workout, moving your body, whatever it might be, make sure that you are taking breaks and make sure that when you're feeling burnout, you verbalize that and let other people know and ask for help. Pray in that time and know that while some days are hard, really, really hard, and some days you might even have to throw in the towel for that specific day, ultimately it is all worth it. You will laugh just as much as you cry. You will get the opportunity to grow and to learn with your child. If your child has siblings, they're going to get the opportunity to grow and learn as they help support you guys as well. So be encouraged that there is a reason for this season. And just know that even if they didn't warn you about it in advance, you still can homeschool your kids. Let me know down in the comments what you wish somebody would have told you about homeschooling kids with special needs. And be sure to go check out Kristen and Wendy's video as well.